sometimes I can do some mistakes, and sometimes maybe I will not understand you, and I wanna. Um, can you speak some slowly sometimes if I
Okay.
wanna ask you?
Yeah, if you have any questions or if you ever want me to rephrase anything, just let me know and I can go back, no problem. But I understand you perfectly fine, so I don't think the language is going to be too much of an issue.
All right, it's good to hear it. So about Dota 2 game, the main thing what I want to know, it's drafting in matchmaking, in public matchmaking. Uh, uh, I mean, not drafting. I'm playing carry, so I don't know sometimes what should I pick, and it's my big problem. Uh, so I want I want to know what should I pick in
Basically, how
some
to
games.
pick better is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I know about tournaments. I see qualifiers now, but you know that public matchmaking and full five team, it's not
Yeah,
equals.
it's completely different in professional games than it is in public games because there's certain like lineups that you have to do certain things with. Like right now, the current play style is two dual lanes where you have two in the safe lane and two in the off lane. And
Yeah,
if you pick a, let's say you pick a position 3 off lane hero that's reliant on you being in a dual lane and you just don't have a second person, then you're kind of in trouble. So
yeah,
drafting based off of just copying the professionals is not always the best idea. But there is a tool that I can give you. It's Dota Buff. I use it a lot. Do I have you added on Steam? What's your name on Steam?
same as Skype, Sandro Balk. I can send you a link on my Dota buff if you want.
Well, can you just message me on Steam, so I can get your? I don't see you.
Um,
Just
it's
shoot me a message
uh,
and I'll be able to find your profile.
I'm not sure about that. I have you in Steam.
Oh, I can send it
Uh,
over Skype then. Um, so what I'm using, I sent you the link. That's just an example of Pudges, but if you go to that link, it'll come up with your heroes matchups against other heroes. So if you like, do you have a game that you wanted to go over together, specifically?
yeah, I want to. I played 10 games, so I wanna see. I wanna talk about every game and every my pick, and I wanna describe uh, my pick, and I wanna tell what about I thought and why I picked
Yeah.
my heroes.
Okay.
So
If you can send
uh,
me all of those match
I
IDs, then I can get.
I sent you my Dota buff. So
Oh, okay.
oh
Yeah.
no, not my Dota buff. It's last match. No,
Okay.
you can see a Thunderbalk player.
Yeah.
That is.
And then which hero were you here?
Let's talk about games, I guess.
Yeah. Um.
So last game, Medusa, I got last pick. And what about I thought and why I picked Medusa in this game?
Sure.
Um, I I thought about PL because they don't have much AoE damage and they can fast kill illusions, but I was not sure about that I can kill Ursa and Wraith King and Storm SPL.
Um,
So also they have Naga with sleep and second skill. I forgot.
net.
Uh,
Her net. The
Naga has. Yeah, I forgot
and
about.
snare.
Yeah. So they can, and I can't run from. I mean, I can't use Doppelganger. So that's why I don't go. I didn't go PL. And then and I saw two melee heroes. I thought that I can pick Medusa in this game.
Um,
Something like that.
okay. So what I was talking about before with the matchup thing, I wanna like teach you how you can use that as a tool. So what you would do in this game would be, um, so you usually the best method that you can use for doing this is look at the enemy's team and look at the heroes that are the most like important, I would say. Like if you see a Crystal Maiden or like a what's another hero? A Lich or something like that on the enemy team, or a Warlock or an Ogre, something that doesn't have a huge impact on what hero you want to pick, you would kind of ignore that. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah, yeah.
if they have a Crystal Maiden, you're not going to completely change your draft based off of it. But if they have something like a Storm Spirit, that changes everything because you need lockdown for him, or he will just win the game on his own. Or something like a Meepo, or a Brood Mother, or a Tinker, something along those lines. So what I would do here is look at the enemy team and figure out which of those heroes are important for you to like pick around. So with that, I would look at the Storm Spirit. I would look at the Ursa and kind of Wraith King. Wraith King is kind of like the way that I would go about this is I would look up the I'd look up the Ursa's matchup. I'll send you the link real quick. Ursa and Storm Spirit. So you would go to these two different that and this. Um, and then you would look at what heroes, or the second one didn't go to it, but if you go to counters, or
Yeah,
both of them didn't
yeah.
go to it. If you go to counters, and then what I would do there is look at the heroes that are at the top of the matchup thing, meaning they're the best to pick into it, and then look for a hero that is in both of them. So see if there's a hero that's in the top 10 for both. And here, PL is the best against Ursa. I don't know how it does against. And then it's not really that special against. It's not that great against Storm. So, um, one sec. Scar, Medusa. Yeah, and then if you go to the Storm one, Medusa's the fourth best against Storm. But if you go to Ursa, he's not in the top. Like,
Yeah, I see it.
so you would look for. I don't think there is one that's in both, or at least I'm not seeing it right now. Um,
Okay, and what do you think about what should I pick without the buff counters or anything else?
well,
Uh,
what this teaches you is the matchups for everything. Like it's even for me, if I was trying to play carry into your position, I wouldn't know the exact matchups for all of the heroes against every other hero because that's kind of just there's so many different matchups that it's hard to be able to predict. So I would be using this tool a lot until I get a really good grasp for um, what heroes do well against what other heroes. So I wouldn't. I would be using this probably for at least like 6 months if I was trying to get really good at last picking, or at least until you like find find your rhythm and find the heroes that work well for you to counter other heroes. Does this all make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um, so here again, there's not really anything that's in the top for both. So what I would do from there is try to probably look at one that's in the top five for either, and then see how it does in your lineup. So Storm Spirit would be Meepo, AM, Huskar, or Medusa, and then Ursa would be PL, Razor, Gyro, or Windrunner. Um, so from there, you would look at your team and like kind of the rest of their team and see how those top heroes do against their the enemy lineup. Um, so for this, I'd also with Doom on your team. That's kind of a huge answer for the Storm Spirit. So if you can rely on your Doom, then there's less merit to worrying about the Storm Spirit because he's going to be reliably doomed. Um, but if he doesn't do that, then you're kind of in a tricky position. So I'd say probably PL was the best pick here, I think. Um, Seeing
Hmm.
how PL does. Ursa can't do anything against PL, and neither can Wraith King. Um, and then the rest of them are like average against PL. Um, it's kind of like a wash for the rest of them, I think. Um, and with Storm Spirit already being dealt with the Doom, you do really well against the two other cores. Whereas
But
Medusa, it's kind of like this hero's damage scales infinitely. This hero does really good with or does really well with a diffusal. Um, and it's just kind of like you're not gonna be able to do a lot this game. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah, right. I understand what you said. Yeah, okay.
So from a place where you would be able to draft better from this, like if you were to be put back into this game and you had to refigure out what you wanted to do, basically what I would recommend for you is look up the heroes matchups. I'd say probably whatever's the best against the Ursa would be one of the better picks because this guy's dealt with kind of if you can rely on your team, and if you can't rely on your team, the game's kind of like over anyways. So whatever does good against the Ursa and kind of the Wraith King would be the best pick here.
Okay, but I have one question about Ursa and Phantom Lancer. I mean, Ursa has passive that stuck, and after Pale use the Pinganger, uh, Ursa can see the real hero, isn't it?
It's dispellable, so if you doppelganger, it takes it off.
Um, wow, it's not dispellable.
It it says on the ability that it's
I,
dispellable.
I talking about full swipes.
Oh, Fury swipes. All right.
Yeah.
You're right then. I mean it's see I don't like I haven't played Ursa against PL, so I don't actually know the matchup, but by going to Dota buff, I would assume what happens is you just um like you would go into the game and what you would do is get your diffusal blade and then throw your
Just kite?
lance at him. Yeah, you'd basically just kite him because this hero is like the worst hero to get kited, and Wraith King is also the worst hero to get kited, and they both rely on their mana. So if you get a diffusal blade, just slow them, throw some spears, get them really low, and then go in when they don't have any mana to do anything back to you. Then like you're not afraid of an Ursa with zero mana as a PL, right? Like it's he has
Yeah.
to use his mana to like damage all of your illusions, and then also um, even if he knows which one's real, he's not going to win the fight without overpower. So if you just kite him and drop his mana down, I think that's probably why PL is the biggest counter against Ursa. Um, and then also the power spike of Ursa is about when PL gets his diffusal blade in most games. So you come online against this guy right when this guy is trying to already have won the game, kind of. like at 15 minutes, the Ursa wants to be using the Aegis to like take down towers and secure the victory, whereas PL just got his item to be able to stop the Ursa from doing that.
All right, I got it.
Okay.
Let's see the next game. It's Fast Void. So in this game, I also got a last pick, and or maybe not, maybe ninth. I don't remember, but it doesn't matter. So let's just imagine that I got a last pick.
Sure.
So I see Wraith King, I see Tinker, I see Axe. I see Sky. So I know that Sky in current meta always going hard lane and just spam one button. So Axe also have Battle Hunger for 50 mana, so he will be also spam
Yeah.
Battle Hunger. And I didn't know actually what hero can stay on this lane and can do anything, can do something in future. So I thought about 3 hero. It's Void, it's Slark, and it's Lycan. Why I thought about Void? No, because he has Rona and it's very huge spell. Also, he has a blink, and that's it. So why I thought about Slark? Because he has 3 HP in second region, basic region. So maybe he can stay on this line. And Lycan has passive with Regent, so he can also stay on this line with Varrock.
So what I see
yeah.
here, I think Lycan or Spectre would be the pick here. I would probably say it's Spectre, to be honest, because the current meta is Warlock. When this Warlock gets level 3 or whatever, he's going to be able to heal for more than these guys will be able to do to you. And that's just, like, this hero is really strong at babysitting right now. So what this guy should do is stack some clarities, probably get a mango also, and then spam his heal on you, and you'll be fine in the lane.
Yeah, but Spectre banned. So
He's what? Oh, it was banned?
yeah, banned.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, I think Spectre would have been the perfect pick here. If he wasn't banned, the reason being, you're still gonna get like kind of ran over in lane, but you will get decent enough farm. And then Spectre's one of those heroes where it's just if the game goes late enough, you're going to have massive impact. And then also with Fatal Bonds with the Warlock, like you with just Radiance and Haunt, you guys are gonna win like any team fight where this guy gets good Fatal Bonds. And then the heal sustains in the lane. So that would have been the best pick here. But with it banned, let me think about it for a second. The Tinker, I think the Tinker wouldn't be. So when I see this whole lineup, I see the Tinker's very. He's one of the heroes that I talked about before, where you have to deal with him.
Yeah.
And then Axe is one of those heroes where you want to have somebody that can not just die to Axe or isn't super countered by Axe. And Lycan is really countered by Axe because the playstyle of Lycan is you have your 2 wolves, you have your 2 necros, then you probably have a Helm of Dom, and you go attack a tower by yourself. But with Axe in the game with a Blink Dagger and possibly a Blade Mail, he can like basically kill you by himself. And if he can't, the Tinker's always going to be able to go to that tower. So with these 2 heroes, you're your ability to play in the mid to late game as a Lycan is like completely shut down, kind of. Like you need the axe to be showing somewhere on the map, or you can't do basically anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Uh,
So from there, with the Tinker, I don't think he's that big of a deal this game because when the Zeus gets a Ags, he just drops Nimbus on wherever this guy is, and it kind of like the Zeus can just ult. Let's say, do you see my screen on Skype?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay. Do you see my mouse?
yeah, yeah.
My cursor? So the Tinker's gonna jump into an area like this, or an area like this, and the Zeus will just ult and then drop a Nimbus in there, and with any help at all, the Tinker's basically dead. So the Tinker, when the Zeus gets a Nimbus, is kind of like dealt with in the same way a Storm Spirit is when he gets doomed, like the last game. So here I would be looking at how do I deal with the axe, and kind of like the other heroes don't matter too much. I guess also being able to mana burn would be nice. Um, so I would go to the Axes matchups, and then probably the Skyraths matchups, and then go from there. Um,
Let's
One
see.
sec. Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. So it shows Lifestealer, Monkey King, Razor, Ursa, Medusa. Those are good counters to the axe. Um, I'd say probably Monkey King would be the pick here. Um, because with the Monkey King, um, you can duel these guys. Like you just get 2 attacks on this guy, and he has to run away, or you'll get Jingu, and then you'll just heal back to full with your stun. Um, and with the Warlock heal, you'll be able to sustain the lane, and then also, um, when the game does get later, you can, in addition, deal with the Tinker on your own because you'll just jump through the trees and possibly see him, and then you can kill him with just a Nimbus with the Zeus ult on cooldown. It basically the if you're playing Monkey King here, what is the Tinker gonna do when there's a Nimbus out? Like he can't. You stun him once, drop a Nimbus, and then you jump on him from the trees, and this guy's just dead every single time, basically. Um, and then
Yeah.
and then also with Monkey King, you can get a BKB really early, and it doesn't hurt your game much. So you can go something like Echo Saber BKB, and then just drop your ult, and you're fine. Or I think you can get Diffusal, and it works well against the Wraith King, but I'm not sure. I'm not a Monkey King player. Um, but yeah, with Monkey King being able to get a BKB early, you negate all of this guy, all of this guy, all of this guy, and then most of this guy with the Radiance and the stun. And you don't care about this guy that much in the first place because he blinked calls you with Blade Mail, and then you get Jingu stacks before you die, and then you just start healing back up. Um,
Yeah,
so
okay.
does that make
Uh,
sense? Would you agree with that?
yeah, I agree. It's I forgot about Monkey King, and it's very useful information for me. But I have one question about
Sure.
Spectre in this game. Imagine that he didn't bend. So what about laning stage versus Axe and Sky? I mean, skill build. Should I max the dispersion, or it doesn't matter, and I should max dagger as always?
Um, I think probably what you would want to do is max dispersion second. It depends on how the lane goes, because if you're farming with dagger, like if the lane goes so bad that you're farming with dagger, you might want to get a second point or a third point in that. But I think dispersion would be really good because your strategy in this lane is basically get like 3 sets of regen and a stout shield, and then get a quelling blade when you can from the side shop, and get as much as you can from lane, but you're never killing anyone. And your dispersion would just make your regen go farther and deter them more. So I think dispersion would be good too. If you're not going to max it first, probably max it second. And then the reason that people like to get Desolate maxed second is because it helps you kill people, obviously with Haunt, but with Fatal Bonds and Zeus ult, you're already going to have enough damage for team fights at the like 15-minute mark. So how that lane goes is you basically just sustain, and if they're not playing super aggressive, then you don't have to get the dispersion, and you can just max dagger or whatever you want. But if they are playing super aggressive and it's kind of like you're using all the regen you can to just stay in lane, then you would want to get more points in dispersion earlier.
All right, I got it. Thank you. It's
Do you have any other questions on this specific draft?
no, I understand about this game, so we can take next game.
Alright, sure.
Um, Third game Spectra. So, yeah, in this game, that was one thing what about I thought, and it was two things. All right, Slark and Sniper. So I thought that I have to uh, I have to come closer to Sniper. So Spectre is perfect hero to kill Sniper, but they have Slark who will buy Silver Edge, and I will have some problems. But also we have also Spectre has Dagger who turn off the Slark region.
Yeah.
So, and we have Vengeful Spirit with Swap. We have Tide, and also we have Bone Fletcher who has much damage to kill anyone. So that's why I got Spectre on this game.
So the first thing that I want to point out here is you're gonna be against what is the meta that you guys run into for your laning phase? Like
Sorry.
the playstyle. How do you have hero split during the laning phase in your in most of your games?
Sorry, I didn't understand you against.
It's
my best.
how so right now usually in my games I have two heroes, two heroes, two heroes, two heroes, one hero, one hero.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah. Is
yeah,
that
same.
typical for your games?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, what you're gonna run into this game with your Venge being position 5 and your Spectre being position 1 is your lane's just gonna get destroyed. Because this hero is horrible except for when they're going for kills. Like Venge as a support doesn't harass well, and doesn't sustain well. So, but her stun is pretty strong, and her aura is pretty strong, and her armor reduction is pretty strong. So she's really good when your intent is to kill the enemies. But that's about it. She has low attack range. Her health pool isn't that great, I think. And then Spectre is just obviously one of the weakest laners in the game, just because his kit's weak. So this lane is really weak because Spectre doesn't kill at all, and this hero requires you to kill people for it to, like, if it's not killing people, it's not doing too much, right?
Yeah.
So what you're gonna run into is you're probably gonna lane against like a Sand King and a Phoenix, where you're gonna run up to the lane, you're gonna get hit by the fire spirits and stunned, and then you're just gonna have to back, and like your game's kind of over at that point. Or you're gonna be up against a Pudge and you're gonna get hooked into fire spirits, and you can't like trade back. So what I would look at this game is, because your Venge picked, because you had the last pick and your Venge picked before you, I would look at what's something that can go with a Vengeful Spirit and not have a horrible lane. So
Mm.
something like heroes that I see that do pretty well in lanes as carries are something like a Mirana, a Monkey King, a Razor, um, sometimes a Juggernaut. But you see how Spectre is just. You probably had a horrible laning phase this game, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's you can predict that just based off of the matchup. So I would try to find a hero that works well against the sniper and against the Slark that also can lane well with Spectre. So we would go back to the Dota buff, look up the Slark's matchups and the sniper's matchups, and then find a hero that's either really good against both or decent against, or really good against one or decent against both, that also can lane with the Vengeful Spirit against a combination of Phoenix, Sand King, and Pudge. Um, so if we do that, let me go to it real quick. Phoenix, um, counters. So it would be Huskar, AM. Your Clinks is already picked. Morphling. I think Morphling might have been really good here. Actually.
Yeah, and it's a good counter pick for sniper.
Yeah, because you can just jump in and E-blade them depending on how you build. And then if this guy ever goes on you, you can just waveform out or... yeah, I think... Let me see the matchups for the other people too. Also, another thing to consider, if you... I don't know what the communication is like for your games, but a lot of the times you can have a lot better matchup if you just switch your lanes with your offlaners. So like you and Venge might be able to do really well against. I'm assuming the sniper is the carry, or the Slark is the carry, the sniper's the mid, the Phoenix is off lane, and then I don't know. Pudge is probably safe lane, and this guy is off lane. Was that what
Uh,
happened? Or
I
these two are
don't
switched?
remember well, but Phoenix was offlane, and Patch in this game Patch was roam,
Okay.
uh,
Was
and
the Sand King in
Sinking
your lane?
Sinking was top lane with Slack.
Okay. So you were playing just against the Phoenix.
Yeah,
Um,
in this game, yeah.
okay. So I think you probably wouldn't want to switch those lanes because Venge and Spectre do a lot worse against Sniper, Sand King, and a roaming Pudge than they do against a solo Phoenix. But sometimes, let's say that they were doing a lineup like off lane Phoenix and Sand King, and you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
got
yeah,
out to
yeah.
the runes quick enough to spot it. If you could communicate with your team, you would rather have the Clinks go lane against that than you, because that's like a Phoenix can at least like you're gonna run up to the creep wave, you're gonna get spirited, and you're gonna get stunned, and you're gonna take a bunch of damage. But the Clinks can just sit back in tower range and throw out and get about the same farm as you would against the sniper, but you would get so much more farm against the sniper than you would against that lineup. So that's another thing that you want to consider when you're playing these games if your team's listening to you. Um,
All right. So let's uh, first point. I should pick maybe Morphling in this game instead
yeah,
of Spectre on
maybe. It
last pick.
depends on how good you are at Morphling. It could be the
Yeah,
best pick in the world, but if you don't feel confident on it, I wouldn't go for it.
actually I'm bad Morphling, but it's doesn't matter. Because we are talking about pick and not my skill or
Yeah.
my item build or anything else. So and if I got Spectre because my Morphling is bad, I should switch lane.
Well, I would say in this situation where you're against the Phoenix, it's not that bad. But if you were the
Against one
enemy,
hero, yeah.
yeah. But if the enemy did run Phoenix Sand King, then you would definitely want to switch the lanes there, because this guy will get like 5% less farm, but you'll get twice as much farm from that switch. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
So do you want to go over the next Faceless Void game, or do you want me to talk about this a little bit more?
I wanna see the PL game. It's
Okay.
fifth after Fastest Void.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a hard game for me. So why I got this pick, I got this hero because I see Wraith King, I see the Storm, and also they don't have any AoE damage to kill my illusions. And I knew that zombie will come to Hardware, but he can kill me because he doesn't have any slow. So they have on a flame patch, but I can't dodge with my doppelganger or with my third skill and just run out. So that's why I got Phantom Lancer.
Okay, so here, I think the pick is good because the Storm, um, you have silence for Storm with your Skywrath, so you have a way to deal with him, and then you do really well against the rest of the lineup. Your mana burn is great against this guy. You can destroy the Tombstone pretty safely, and like this guy doesn't have any lockdown for you. This guy is trying to hook. Like Pudge is bad with an Undying in the game in the first place because his zombies are gonna like block hooks. Yeah, and then also all of your illusions are gonna block hooks. So this guy's not that big of a deal at all until he gets like a blink dagger, and he can like single you out and dismember you from like the trees, ganking you. And then swap's not gonna be that big of a deal because Bloodseeker can rupture whoever you guys are going on. So I think your lineup should win this really hard. I think maybe what you should have done was I think getting a Lincolns this game would have been really good for you, and I think because that stops like this guy can't do anything to you if you stop his stun. And this guy can't, like, jump on you, and he doesn't ever get an Orchid for whatever reason, but he can't, like, do much to you if he can't, like, jump on you immediately. I think the ways that you die this game are people jump out of nowhere, and they cast a spell on you, and they lock you down, and then they follow up with more lockdown. So I think Lincolns would have been really good this game. And also, I think you guys outscale them. Due to being able to counter them until about level 20 on the Wraith King, and then it gets a little bit trickier, but it's still not that bad. I think Wraith King after level 20 kind of counters the PL actually, because he can get a Maelstrom and the mana burn doesn't do anything anymore, and he's a really good Radiance carrier. But I think aside from that, you guys scale better. Because Undying falls off really hard. Venge is just going to be a swap later in the game and like some bonus damage. And you guys should be able to win the early game hard enough that you take an advantage into the late game.
Yeah, I lost this game because my wrong skill build. Because as I know now, most professional players and high MMA players skill third or second or third skills for farming and for for better move speed. I mean
mobility through the
mobility.
jungle.
Yeah.
I got you.
And so and and in this game I maxed my lens because I did stay versus Undying, and I want to fight and I want to kill him, so I maxed lens, and that was my problem. So I can't farm faster. So I lost my time to farm, and I died twice very. I
In
mean,
places that you shouldn't
I
have died.
make some mistakes
Yeah.
in this game, and this is why we lost. It's all about my fault. So,
So
uh,
one thing that I was pointing out with the Lincolns is PL's one of those heroes that he kind of like sustaining on him is kind of awkward, right? Like he used to be really good before with Wand when they had the 1.5 health regen, but they took that away. So he doesn't really have the greatest options for getting sustain items. Whereas this guy has lifesteal, this guy sometimes gets bottle and all that. This guy has his Q to keep his health topped off. PL kind of struggles with that. And what I was saying with the Lincoln Sphere is I think it's really good in the later game, but what you can also do with it is just get the ring of health. I think it's called
I got
and
you.
then you can go like treads, ring of health, and then diffusal blade, and then go back for the Lincolns because you don't need the Lincolns until you like start fighting at like 20 minutes or so. So going straight Lincolns would be a waste. Um, but just getting the ring of health would give you the sustain that would probably like if I had to guess, probably what happens is you're at like 70 or 60% health when they go on you in a decent amount of the four deaths that happen from where is it from 14 minutes to uh, 18 minutes. You're probably not topped off when those fights happen. Whereas if you had a ring of health, then maybe you'd be topped off and maybe they wouldn't kill you, and then you just snowball from there. So I think the draft is fine, um, but the skill build and then maybe the item decision was wrong.
Yeah, it's yeah, I got you. So I uh, I forgot about Lincolns. I mean, uh, wait a second. I need a translator. Sorry. Mm.
You're fine.
I mean, I don't get Lincolns not enough often. I mean, I see Doom. All right, I can buy Lincoln. I see maybe I don't know. Um, Storm. I can buy Lincoln, but uh, mm, it's not enough often. I hope you understand me.
Yeah, you.
S- And
Well,
also, it's last thing. Also, I don't buy Lincolns often. I don't buy Lincolns on most heroes. I mean, oh, I got a Morphling. All right, it's first item Lincoln.
yeah,
All right, I got a Void. Yeah, I have to initiate. I have to buy BKB Lincoln. All right, I will buy it. I got I don't know, Phantom Lancer, Phantom Assassin, Draw Ranger, doesn't matter. And I just don't think about Lincoln,
yeah.
and so
Well, it's kind of like how I see it. This game is you're gonna you're gonna get chain disabled, or you're not gonna get disabled at all, and
yeah,
that's how I see these fights happening. Like they'll usually what'll happen is you'll probably die to two people. Like the storm will zip on you, or you'll get hooked and dismembered, or this guy will blink stun you, or whatever it is, or you'll get stunned by this guy and swapped, or something like that. But
yeah,
if your Lincoln Sphere pops the first of those, then you can usually doppelganger to dodge the second, or use your Manta later on in the games to like confuse them or whatever it is. And then also on top of that, because of how PL is as a hero, you do need something to. You usually do need something to sustain you until like 20 minutes, so that you can farm creeps and not be sitting at like 60%. And you would kind of want your Warlock to be healing you to keep you up, but you can't really rely on this guy to always be there, always healing you. So
yeah,
I think it's good in your fights. I see it as when you get your diffusal blade, you're gonna be very strong, and then you want your next item to kind of tank you up, because with just diffusal blade, you're kind of squishy to go in and actually attack with your diffusal blade. Um, but with the Lincoln Sphere, it gives you a good amount of health. It makes sure you're topped off when you go in every time, and then it also makes it so you don't just get stunned once when they figure out which one you are, and then you die. Um, Whereas with the Lincoln Sphere, they throw the stun on you. You're like, all right, well, they figured out which one's the real one. I'm gonna use my doppelganger, and then they're gonna have to figure it out all over. And then usually by then the fight's already over, or whatever the case is.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. Um, I think it's enough about my games. Wait a minute, please. I'm thinking. All right. Let's talk about last game and about Luna. It's like sixth, yeah, or
Is
seventh
it
game.
this one?
Yeah, yeah.
So the first thing that I want to point out here is it's very important. Terrorblade is a big counter to Luna, um, but
Yeah,
you can dispel um, the refraction thing or whatever it's called.
refraction. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so what you want to be doing is you want to, unless they force you to, you want to save your Manta style for that. Because if you Manta style and then he does this, that's like, you can lose the game based just
Yeah.
off of that. Because you do so much damage with your illusions. But if he uses it and then you Manta, it's, you're not countered anymore. And that's basically how this matchup goes. Um, So that's a
Oh,
huge thing to consider when you're looking at this game to start.
all right, but before I got Luna, I also saw Sky and Legion, and I got Disruptor. So, what should I pick instead of Luna? I don't remember. Wait a second. I saw.
You were
I,
the sniper was last pick. You were the pick before that. Um, so you saw these four heroes. Um,
is Yeah, and why I mean I don't really know heroes who can stay versus Sky. I didn't know. So and Legion because they have very high damage, so it doesn't as I thought it doesn't matter what hero I got with Disruptor because this Disruptor can't heal me or save me. So and I thought that I can farm as faster maybe or as fast as Terrorblade. So in late game maybe I can do. Uh, I mean, I will useful for my team.
yeah. Um,
That's why I got Luna this game because
okay.
of fast farm. That's
Yeah.
all.
Um, so I think it's a really tricky lane to go in against without a warlock sitting behind you and healing you. Um,
But
the
I
Skyreth LC lane. Um, One sec. Um,
troll Monkey King
yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Um,
and Terrorblade,
yeah.
Slark, Slark, Max.
So the reason that I don't like the Luna too much, is basically that it's really bad against the Terrorblade because you have to play in a certain way. Like until let's say you get BKB. Um, does his thing pierce BKB? Uh,
As a
no, it
no,
doesn't.
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I was gonna say is with Luna, you get the Manta and the BKB, and the Manta is really good just based off of the hero, but it's also really good based off of you don't have to BKB just a silence from this guy. So it allows you to hold your BKB for better situations. But because of the Terrorblade and the Skywrath, well, one, the Skywrath, Luna has low base health, but she has
Yeah.
really good armor, so she gets hit extra hard by the Skywrath Legion lane, and she's melee range
Yeah.
basically. So
Yeah.
she's going to be getting hit by the nukes, and then the LC is going to be running up real quick on you, and smacking you a few times. And then because of your low health but high armor, this guy's going to be doing a lot more effective damage to you in lane. And then on top of that, you have to worry about the itemization and the playstyle around the Terrorblade, where you're not going to give him free damage on your entire team based off of his reflection. So with those three in mind, I think Luna would not be the greatest pick here. I'm trying to figure out what would be. I think Troll and Monkey King again would probably be the better two. I think maybe Monkey King would be.
I mean, Troll is better than Monkey King versus Terrorblade, but on the lane, Monkey King is better, I guess.
Well, Monkey King lives through duels, and Troll doesn't live as consistently through duels as Monkey King, I would say. I think if you have lifesteal and you have your axes out, you'll probably live better, but Elsie's gonna just wait for your axes to go down and then duel you. And then also, because you guys have a Huskar, and the Huskar he's one of those heroes, again, where if he was on the enemy team, you would definitely have to look at this guy and look at the matchups against him to figure out what you want. But also, because of this hero being on your team, you kind of want to draft around that too. I don't think there's actually... I don't think there's a, like... I don't know where to find what goes well with things, but with Huskar, I would say you probably want a hero that gets strong at the same time as him, or who can use the Huskar's space to get very strong after it. Ursa and Huskar are heroes where they demand a lot of attention and they're really strong really early, but then they fall off. And you either want to have won the game by then, or be in a place where when they do fall off, there's somebody else to carry the game from there. So, and that plays well into the Monkey King and Troll, where they're both really strong in the early game, and then they're also really strong a little bit after the Huskar falls off. So I'd probably be thinking the Troll and the Monkey King, and then try to end the game before like 25 minutes, or at least have the game secured at 25 minutes, if that makes sense. Where
Yeah.
you, like, have your second Roche and be pushing high ground, trying to get megas at around 25 minutes. And then, like, this guy gets, he gets his Blade Mail at 21 minutes, and Blade Mail would destroy this Huskar, because this guy just blink duels the Huskar with Blade Mail, and this guy's game's kind of, like, over from there. So you want to end it early. So yeah, I think probably getting Troll or Monkey King, getting early game items, and then just trying to end the game from there would be your best strategy here. And Luna doesn't, like, do well in lane, and then after the laning phase you also don't do that well either. So yeah, I think this is a hard spot to draft. At least, like, I wouldn't know the perfect thing to pick, but I think Troll and Monkey King would probably be the best two that I can think of.
All right, I got it. So I should play some Monkey King, maybe sometimes. But okay, that's enough for my games, I think.
Sure.
I have maybe some questions about maybe I I don't promise, but I want to take some lessons of maybe one lesson, I don't know, to analyze at least one or my two games. I mean, watch replay and analyze every my step, every my move, or something like that.
Yeah, I got you.
But I don't know. It maybe it will be tomorrow next.